We live online, we breathe content, we consume media like it's oxygen, and we're constantly bombarded with warnings about how we're damaging our minds with all this scrolling, all these edits, all this stimulation. But what if I told you we're actually at the beginning of something new? What if all this brain rot is about to change? I'm not here to shame you for using social media. I'm not going to tell you how many hours of screen time is acceptable. I'm here because I think we're witnessing the early signs of a major shift. Let's talk about what brain rot actually is. It's that feeling when you've scrolled for hours and somehow feel both completely overstimulated and totally empty. It's when you're watching Netflix while scrolling Instagram, while half listening to a podcast. It's when you can't remember anything you watched yesterday despite watching content for 6 straight hours. We all know this feeling. We all live this feeling. When I say we, I absolutely mean we. I'm not above any of this. For years, we've been told this is happening because our attention spans are destroyed. We're dopamine addicts. We're broken. But that explanation feels too simple, too convenient. It doesn't capture what's actually happening to us. Think about something you saw online that genuinely moved you. A video that made you feel something real. A song that transported you somewhere else. We all have these moments, which immediately shoots down the idea that our brains are completely fried and unable to connect with anything. The real question is, how much content did you have to sift through to find that one piece that actually mattered? Hundreds of videos, thousands. And do you remember any of them in between? That's the actual pattern. We're not incapable of paying attention. We're drowning in a sea of content. It's explicitly designed to be forgotten the moment after it's consumed. Every platform, every creator, every brand is competing for your attention. So they've engineered content to be increasingly emotional, increasingly stimulating, increasingly addictive. It's not just about short attention spans anymore. It's about who can create the most intense feeling in the shortest time. TikToks are 7 seconds of pure concentrated emotion. Songs are getting shorter, more hook-centered. YouTube videos are edited with a relentless pace. None of this is revolutionary information. We all know the internet is changing us. We know and we've known. But now we're entering something different. We're not just in an era of distraction anymore. We're in an era of merciless emotional gratification. And it's getting more intense every single day. Every time you open an app, you're bombarded with content that's more beautiful, more emotional, more complex, more intense than the last time. That sounds amazing if you don't think about the implications. But when you spend enough time being constantly bombarded by content, you start to feel something weird. Something that has nothing to do with failing attention spans or addictive algorithms. It's a feeling of emptiness. A weird dread that sits deep in your chest after hours of emotionally saturated content. That's what scares me most about all this. Not that we can't focus, but that we're being overloaded. Our capacity to process information has limits, but the content doesn't. And this overflow of digital stimulation is affecting how we interact with the world around us. Have you noticed how difficult it's becoming for us to connect offline? There's research suggesting our generation experiences higher rates of social anxiety when it comes to in-person interactions. It's not our fault. When you grow up in an environment where digital communication is primary, face-to-face interaction becomes this strange, unfiltered experience that we can't edit, can't delete, can't curate. Our devices have become externalized emotional regulation systems. Feeling awkward, pull out your phone. Feeling bored, open TikTok. Feeling anxious, scroll Instagram. Feeling lonely, watch YouTube. The problem isn't that these are inherently bad coping mechanisms. The problem is that they're becoming our only coping mechanisms. And they're not actually designed to help us cope. They're designed to keep us engaged. The systems that deliver this content are getting better at emotional targeting. They're learning what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what makes you laugh, what makes you scared. And they're serving you more of whatever keeps you scrolling. The entire digital infrastructure is built around this model. Your emotional state is the product being sold to advertisers. So are we doomed? I don't think so. Because something is happening. People are getting tired. Really tired. Not just metaphorically, neurologically exhausted. Our brains weren't designed to process information at the volume and emotional intensity we've been forcing them to. Have you noticed how many people are talking about digital detoxes now? How many friends have deleted TikTok or Instagram because it was melting their brain? How the term brain rot itself has gone mainstream. That exhaustion is actually the first sign we're entering a post-brain rot era, when you get so sick of feeling manipulated by short-form emotional content that you start seeking something else. Something deeper, something more substantial. That's the beginning of change. Look at what's gaining traction. Long-form podcasts where people just talk for hours. YouTube videos that go deep on a single topic without frantic editing. Communities forming around shared interests rather than shared content. This isn't happening because we suddenly got more virtuous. It's happening because we're exhausted. Our brains are screaming for coherence, for something that doesn't feel like it's tearing us apart. I think what we're seeing is a pendulum swing. We pushed so far in one direction, toward fragmentation, toward micro-content, toward algorithmic curation, that a counter-movement was inevitable. People are seeking out more integrated, more coherent experiences. And the interesting thing is, platforms are starting to respond, not out of the goodness of their hearts, but because market forces demand it. If users become dissatisfied, platforms adapt. There's a growing recognition that optimizing solely for attention is a race to the bottom. Eventually you hit the biological limits of human perception. You can't make videos shorter than a certain threshold. You can't make cuts faster than the brain can process. So what comes next? That's the post-brain rot era I'm talking about. It's not about abandoning digital spaces or returning to some pre-internet utopia. It's about evolving towards something more sustainable, more nourishing, more human. I think we'll see a bifurcation of digital experiences. On one hand, algorithmic content will continue to optimize, getting more precisely targeted, more emotionally calibrated. But on the other hand, we'll see the growth of spaces that explicitly reject that model. The post-brain rot era isn't about going backward. It's about moving forward more consciously, about building digital spaces that enhance our humanity rather than exploit it. This transition won't be easy or clean. The psychological hooks of infinite scrolling and algorithmic feeds are deeply embedded in our daily routines, and not everyone will make this transition at the same time or in the same way. For many, especially younger users who have never known anything different, the brain rot era is simply normal. It's the water they swim in. But I believe the signs of change are there if you look for them. The growing dissatisfaction with algorithmically driven experiences, the fatigue with constant stimulation, the yearning for something more substantive, more meaningful. The most interesting aspect of this shift is that it's not being driven by moral panic or technological reactionaries. It's coming from digital natives themselves, people who grew up online and are now demanding something better, because ultimately, what's at stake isn't just how we consume content, it's how we experience reality, it's how we relate to each other, it's how we understand ourselves. The post-brain rot era isn't inevitable, it's a possibility. A direction we might choose to move in, collectively and individually. A recognition that our current relationship with digital content isn't sustainable and isn't serving us.
So what exactly does the post-brain rot era look like? Well, if you've been online for the past few years, you've witnessed the rise of what many call brain rot content. Those endless, mindless scrolling sessions filled with quick dopamine hits, but virtually zero substance. 10-second clips designed to hook your attention just long enough to serve you an ad before you move on to the next forgettable moment. But something fascinating is happening. The data shows viewer retention for this type of content is plummeting. People are growing tired of feeling like they've wasted hours online with nothing to show for it. That familiar sense of guilt after a 2-hour TikTok binge isn't just in your head. It's a collective experience that's driving real change in consumer behavior. What we're seeing now is an emergence of what I call slow content, material that asks you to invest your attention, but rewards you with genuine insight, knowledge, or meaningful entertainment. Look at the explosive growth of long-form podcasts, deep-dive YouTube essays, and substantive newsletters. People aren't just consuming this content, they're paying for it, supporting creators directly through subscriptions and patronage models. This isn't about attention spans shrinking or growing. It's about attention becoming more intentional. The most successful creators today understand that viewers don't mind length, they mind wasted time. A 3-hour podcast that delivers genuine value feels shorter than a 30-second clip that offers nothing. Let's look at some numbers. Videos over 20 minutes in length have seen a 37% increase in completion rates compared to last year. Meanwhile, the average view time for sub-60-second content has dropped by nearly a quarter. Creators who have pivoted from quick viral clips to more substantive content report not just better engagement metrics but more sustainable revenue streams. The platforms themselves are catching on. YouTube has been prioritizing watch time over raw views for years, and now other platforms are following suit with algorithms that reward content that actually holds attention rather than just capturing it momentarily. What's driving this shift? I believe it's a combination of factors. First, there's fatigue. The novelty of endless scrolling has worn off, and many people are experiencing what researchers call content exhaustion, that feeling that you've seen it all before. Second, there's a growing awareness of the psychological toll of constant low-value consumption. More users are utilizing screen time monitors and intentionally curating their feeds to minimize the junk. Third, and this is crucial, the barriers to creating quality content have never been lower. The tools, knowledge, and platforms needed to produce cinema-quality video, professional audio, or magazine-worthy writing are accessible to virtually anyone with a smartphone and an internet connection. But here's what makes this truly a post-brainrot era, rather than just a pendulum swing back to traditional media. The best content today combines the accessibility and authenticity that made short-form content appealing with the depth and substance of traditional media. It's not about choosing between entertainment and education. It's about demanding both. For creators, this presents both a challenge and an opportunity. The bar for quality is rising, but so is the potential for building a truly dedicated audience. Creating content that respects your viewers' time and intelligence is not just ethically sound, it's becoming the only sustainable business model. So what does this mean for you as a viewer or creator? It means being more intentional with how you spend your time online. It means supporting creators who deliver genuine value. And it means recognizing that your attention is a precious resource, perhaps the most valuable currency in the digital economy. The platforms that will thrive in this post-brainrot era are those that help users find the signal in the noise, curating content based not just on what will keep you scrolling, but on what will actually enrich your life in some way. We're not returning to some golden age of media. We're entering something entirely new, an era where content is both more accessible and more substantial than ever before, where algorithms might actually help us become more thoughtful and informed rather than more distracted and divided. The post-brainrot era isn't about abandoning social media or digital content. It's about evolving it into something that serves us better, something that recognizes that humans are capable of deeper engagement than many platforms have given us credit for. So the next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, ask yourself, is this content respecting my intelligence and my time? Because increasingly, that's the standard by which successful content will be judged. And that's a standard that benefits all of us.